He notes the exact location and the equipment likely to be required for its removal, then hurries back to send his report to regional headquarters. There, a conference takes place between the regional operations chief, the senior bomb disposal officer, and the post office official, who convinces them that the threatened cables are important enough to warrant the bomb being placed in Category A, if the regional commissioner will sanction it. Promptly, the order goes out from regional headquarters, and a bomb disposal section arrives on the site within a very few minutes. The men start unloading their gear, which contains the necessary equipment to gain access to the bomb. The section officer takes his sergeant to the spot where they investigate further and lay plans as to the safest and most effective method to be employed in this particular problem. Within 48 hours, the bomb is made safe and is hoisted out of the hole like any other piece of scrap metal. To the intense relief of the entire neighborhood, not to mention the members of the bomb disposal squad, it is loaded onto the truck, and eventually the section officer hands the warden his clearance certificate. The bomb disposal truck goes off with its load, and once more the telegraph cables are safe. The streets are reopened again, and very little time has been lost, and the morale of the people who live on the street is back to normal again. Few bombs get into Category A and are taken care of as promptly as this one. But in all cases, after the report has been made and while waiting its turn on the list, there is much that must be done to minimize danger and destruction. These houses are threatened by an unexploded bomb in the parkway. The following safety precautions should be taken at once. All buildings within 50 yards of the bomb should be cleared. The outer doors of the evacuated building should be left wide open, and all windows within 100 yards should be opened wide to prevent the destruction of glass and consequently to prevent injury from flying glass splinters. No heavy traffic should be allowed within 50 yards of the bomb. Roads and approaches within that distance should be promptly blocked off and police posted there to enforce restrictions. Pedestrian traffic should be confined to occupants of unevacuated houses, and even in those cases they should be advised to enter on the side farthest away from the bomb. Unexploded bombs may fall in places where a later explosion would cause great damage to important installations such as these, and vitally affect a major phase of the war effort, in which case, if authorized by the regional commissioner, work on extraction will begin at once, regardless of the risk to life involved. Where bombs cannot be dealt with at once by bomb disposal units, there are in most cases precautions which can be taken to minimize the damage should explosion take place. For instance, this fellow has penetrated near an important water main. Here's the bomb with its fins in the hole of entry. This is the water main. If the bomb explodes, the crater will extend roughly as far as here. Earth shock will travel along this path and probably fracture the water main. The water main may be protected by digging a trench close beside it, a little deeper than it, and outside the radius of the possible crater. The earth shock will be stopped by this trench from traveling up the water main and damaging it. This method can also be used to protect the foundations of a building. This UXB is lying close to a factory. You can protect the factory from blast and splinter damage by building a sandbag wall between the bomb and the factory. This is the probable limit of the crater if the bomb explodes. The sandbag wall should be built here, just outside the probable crater. It should be built at least 10 feet high and at least 2 feet 6 inches wide at the top. The side farthest from the bomb should be sloped at an angle of 1 in 6. This bomb threatens by earth shock the foundations of a factory and the valuable machinery in the basement. Considerable protection can be provided by packing the basement with sandbags on the inside. But do not stack these bags entirely from wall to wall. An outstanding example of protective measures is given in the case of the bomb which dropped on the railway line and is found by a yard switchman. It is near an important munitions factory, too. Now this bomb has fallen in the switch yard, and nearby several important main lines converge into a bottleneck over a bridge. The yardman makes his preliminary report at once, of course. As a result, the streets are closed. The factory is shut down. Houses are evacuated. Traffic on the railway comes to a standstill. The railway company, feeling the situation to be really important, has applied through local authorities for a Category A. And so the senior bomb disposal officer meets the railway's divisional engineer and traffic superintendent at the bomb hole for a conference. It is obviously an unexploded bomb, but rather than accept Category A and risk lives unnecessarily, the BD officer shows how by careful screening the hazard may be reduced, limited traffic resumed, and the munitions factory reopened. The railway officials quickly appreciate this and agree to the proposal. 8 loaded coal cars are switched in on either side of the bomb hole, but sufficiently far from it to be beyond the edge of the probable crater should the bomb explode. Meanwhile, the train waiting in the distance is expecting the signal to proceed. With the coal cars positioned in this way, the tracks on the outside of the cars are effectively screened. The railway can now be reopened to traffic, as long as the trains come slowly past the bomb in order to reduce vibration. And the factory opens once more with a minimum loss of production time. In conclusion, any one of you may have to diagnose a UXB. And don't think an unexploded bomb is a rare thing. In one London district alone, 88 unexploded bombs fell in a single night. Speed is essential. An unexploded bomb is a menace right up to the time it is made safe. But speed is useless without method. Accurate reconnaissance is the first vital step. Then the results of that reconnaissance should be clearly and fully set out in the proper form. That puts the whole organization in motion. First, the application for priority. Then, the allocation of category, which gives the bomb its correct place in the BD unit's timetable. After that, the bomb disposal section can get on the job, and a very ticklish job it is. Eventually, when the clearance certificate is torn off the report and presented to the warden, the unexploded bomb is no longer a threat to the war effort. Its obituary notice has been written, and another enemy bomb goes quietly on its way to the cemetery. UXB, the instrument of calculated destruction, the menace from the night sky, the pride of Goering's Luftwaffe. And yet, in the cold light of day, Hermann is dragged away to an ignominious end.